Well, what do you guys think? Are you surprised? Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you all those things? Are you disappointed? Did you expect it? Can you believe it? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? The Bills lost, obviously, to the Raiders, 38-24. Our playoff hopes are currently in the ICU. Doesn't look like they're going to pull through, but the chance is still there. Fans, you're sad, you're mad, like I said. And it centers right around the quarterback, right around Tyrod Taylor. I'm not going to spin it any other way. You saw him at maybe perhaps his best and worst in the same game. He was terrific in the first quarter. The Bills came out throwing, and he had like one incompletion in the first quarter, right around 100 yards passing, and then the rest of the way, just wow. Finished 18 of 35 for 191. And even after all that, or even, in spite of all that, the Bills still led 24-9 with half of the third quarter gone. And even at that point, as a fan of the team, were you skeptical? You might have been. I feel you for that. Oakland crosses midfield, trailing 24-9, moving the ball like it's nothing, and I wouldn't blame you for feeling like, oh boy, like here they come. It was simultaneously the most unbelievable and predictable thing to, not ever happen, but just to watch. Just to watch unfold. The Raiders have been coming back all season long. The Bills have been blowing leads all decade long, and longer probably. And it just doesn't matter. Like I've brought that point up before. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just like this happens to the Buffalo Bills, regardless of who their coach, quarterback, running back, receiver, center, guard, tackle, tight end, nose tackle, defensive end, linebacker, safety, corner, equipment manager, etc. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing all the time. And I wish I could figure out why we can't shake that stigma about us, but it's just there. Say what you want about the defense. I know they were pretty bad in the second half. They weren't too bad in the first half. They were kind of bending but not breaking. They definitely lucked out with the Crabtree drop touchdown, the 51-yarder to Cooper that got called back. And on that point, if you sort of follow like the metrics, so to speak, of the game, you could sort of feel like it was Oakland's game, even at 24-9. The Bills were like, it's 24-9. I'm like, holy crap! Like the Bills have a really good look at beating these guys. I don't think any team up 2 scores in the second half should ever lose. I realize this happens. I just don't think it should. I don't know. Just keep doing what you're doing on offense, even if your defense folds. I don't know. Things happen. I get it. But why? Why did it feel like Oakland's game, I guess? And there's the point I'm going to make for them. Obviously, it's pretty obvious. Derek Carr, because of their quarterback. The guy just settles in and storms his team back, scoring 29 points over 5 drives, unanswered by the Bills. He just throws to empty spaces and trusts his guys to get there. They do. Picked on Corey White, picked on Kevon Seymour, obviously a lot, but just constantly throwing his guys open. He only goes 19 of 35, but for 260 and 2 touchdowns. And I guess if you looked at that and thought, well, it's not so good, I would just ask you if you watched. Because, dear Lord. And while that's happening, what's our quarterback doing? Going 3 and out 3 times, throwing a pick on the first play of a possession. Of course, the defense is gassed. They're on the field every 3 plays, basically. They're on the field for 10 or whatever. Although, I got to say, Oakland did it fast. And then they're back out there. Oakland scored 21 points in 6 minutes and 9 seconds, which means Oakland scored, the Bills had the ball, Oakland scored, the Bills had the ball, and Oakland scored. So the Bills had the ball twice, and Oakland scored 3 times, all in 6 minutes and 9 seconds. That's absurd. Sunday was the first time I felt like Tyrod was maybe almost directly the reason the Bills lost, regardless of the defense allowing 38 points. Because it was 20, you just sort of knew it was coming. They're a good team. That's what they do. They have a good quarterback. They're at home. I mean, okay, I'll pat myself on the back here. At 24-16, when Crabtree scored, I tweeted out. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is the same as my YouTube username. Usually say it at the end, but here we go. Anyway, I tweeted out that the Bills are going to have to score 38 points, or maybe even 40 to win this game, and I wish I were kidding. And that's exactly what happened. Like, you just felt it. You're as a fan, you saw the impending, at least defensive disaster, or maybe just helpless. Like, holy crap, our defense is going to be helpless. Derek Carr is rolling. We need Tyrod to go out there and get a couple first downs, maybe even a field goal, whatever, which we hate, but maybe he gets one and, slows them down. But Oakland, and there's Oakland, cutting into your 15-point lead twice, and they kick extra point, so you're still leading. They score, you're still leading, you go 3 and out. They score again, you're still leading, and you go 3 and out. Just move the sticks. That's really all you had to do. And you don't know, and then maybe something happens. The Bills had 3 yards. 3 yards, and then the interception. And then Oakland makes it 38-24. And holy moly. The biggest difference between the Raiders and the Bills is glaring. It's the quarterback. And this is a term, I believe I heard it used on WGR, Howard Simon maybe, and I like it. The Bills don't have a trigger man like Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the Raiders' trigger man. And I know that's not supposed to be gun violence or anything. That's a metaphor. He is... Here we go. Here's something that I came up with. The Bills have a runner, and the Raiders have a gunner. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Derek Carr is capable of putting that team on his back. And granted, Latavius Murray scored a couple touchdowns towards the end there, but, no denying that Derek Carr willed that team to victory, and the Bills it just snowballed on the Bills, like Rex said. And the Bills were just, what's happening? What's happening? Stop! And our quarterback, helpless. Tyrod is 33rd in the league in yards per game among quarterbacks who have made at least 2 starts. 33rd. There's only 32 teams in the league, in case you were wondering. And he's 33rd in the league amongst quarterbacks who have made at least 2 starts. Like I said, first time I've watched him and thought, holy moly, they might really want to explore their options after the year. Just as an example, I guess, who? Because people say who. Maybe Tony Romo. That is obviously contingent on the idea that Tony Romo wants to come to the Bills. But you've seen Tony Romo get hurt a lot. You've seen Tony Romo throw the ball to Des Bryant, Sammy Watkins, a lot. You've seen Tony Romo throw the ball to Jason Witten, Charles Clay, a lot. You've seen Tony Romo hand the ball back to DeMarco Murray, LaShawn McCoy, a lot. And it's all worked for them recently. They just, their success hasn't really carried over to the playoffs. I understand that. But, it's just a point to make, I guess. You can make the point about the coach, too, about Rex. I don't think Rex has done a terrible job. In fact, I've grown to like Rex a lot more this season than most people have. But I get it. Like, you could have anybody else coaching this team with that defense, basically, with the production you're getting from the defense. You could have any offensive-minded coach and still get the same production from the defense, and maybe you get a better offense or a better quarterback or something, whatever. I get that. I'm just acknowledging that exists. I've grown to like Rex a lot more. I don't care that he kind of BS's people in the media. I think behind the scenes, he's a good coach, and he puts on a show for people in the media, maybe because he's a little bit of an egomaniac in that sense, but, like, he just bears it. He just shoulders the load for the team. And I like that more often than not. Anyway, I've said let's get to 7-6 the whole time pretty much, so let's do that. It's still there. It's December, and the Bills still have a chance at winning 10 games, albeit a small one. The Steelers are in town this week. It's a must-have game for the Bills. The Steelers kind of need it too. They are chasing the Ravens, who are they're currently tied at 7-5. The Ravens hold the head-to-head tiebreaker, but they do play once more in Pittsburgh. So, the Bills, assuming that I guess the Bills would be watching that because the Bills won't have the tiebreaker against Baltimore, but would against Pittsburgh if they beat them. The Steelers are 11th on offense, 366 yards a game, 8th passing the ball, 18th running the ball. You might have thought that number would be better. They are 9th in yards per play, 17th first downs per game, 11th third down percentage, 43%. Those are my stats. I like those. 14th overall on defense, 348 yards per game allowed, tied for 14th yards per play allowed. 7th in first downs per game allowed, pretty good there. And tied for 7th in third down percentage. So they don't let people move the sticks that easily. They are 12th in points per game on offense, 24, right around 24. The Bills are 9th, actually, right around 25, 25 and a half almost. The Steelers are 7th in points allowed per game, just under shade under 20. The Bills are 17th, almost 23. So the game has the potential there to be high scoring, you think, because the Bills, they have LaShawn McCoy, he runs the ball super well. Holy moly, is he good. But the numbers don't necessarily say it. And, the Steelers have Brown, Bell, Ben, you know that cast of characters. Big Ben, complete 65%, 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks, only 16 sacks. Le'Veon Bell, maybe one of the biggest dual threats, if not the biggest dual threat on offense in the league, next to maybe David Johnson. 817 rushing yards, second on the team with 501 receiving yards. Antonio Brown's there, 88 catches, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. However, Brown and Bell are the only players with more than 32 receptions. So you can game plan to take them away, but almost nobody ever does. So I really wish I could tell you how to stop them. It really does come down to, scoring points on offense, obviously, keeping up with them. They're not that good on the road. This is a team that sort of maybe lives off the fact that people think they're a Super Bowl contender. Maybe they're not that good. Just the same thing with the Bills. Not that people think they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're maybe not that good. They're just 500. Pittsburgh is 3-3 on the road. They beat Washington way back in Week 1. They killed them. Then Cleveland, and then the Colts on Thanksgiving with no Andrew Luck. They got beat up by Philly in Week 3 and beat up by Miami in Week 6. And granted, Ben left that game with an injury. And then they lost to Baltimore about a month ago. So I don't necessarily know if I'm all that impressed by Pittsburgh just by, obviously the Ben Brown connection and Le'Veon Bell running the ball. Latavius Murray did okay last week against the Bills. Jalen Richard did okay last week against the Bills. Blake Bortles did okay the week before against the Bills. Pittsburgh's favored by 2 on the road here, New Era Field, probably because they're on a 3-game win streak and that garbage the Bills pulled last week. So I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to pick the Steelers to win the game. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I'm going to go with 23-20 Steelers. I think it'll be close. The Bills tend to keep it pretty close at home. Guys, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you feel about this game, the rest of the season. I'm going to be there, man. I'm 100% until they get the 7th loss. So, I hope that you guys are there too. If they get this game, they got a real shot maybe at winning out. All right? Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm crazy, all right? Have a good weekend, guys. As always, go Bills.